Coach, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you guys today?
Doing good. You got to be looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to Saturday night. I've been doing this for 30 years. This will be your first experience in
Wow.
Tiger Stadium,
Wow.
under the lights, college game day, top 10 matchup, undefeated, 100,000 strong behind your son in the program. How excited are you for Saturday night?
Well, it's why I retired in February to be able to go to all the games and especially big games like this one. So a lot of family going to be there. A lot of friends really coming from a lot of different places that I've been, and so we're really excited.
You mentioned that you retired, and for 30 years, over 30 years, you were around football, coaching football, defensive coordinator for Ohio University for the last 13 seasons. Do you watch other teams play? Like, do you watch Florida play and kind of scout them? Because you know that Joe's going to have a matchup against them in coming weeks, or maybe even like last weekend against Auburn against a good team. Do you watch that game and as a coach?
Well, I watch it hopefully as a just a fan, but I can't help from look at it from a coach's standpoint. I did watch that game with Joe, or a lot of it, and we saw some things, and but it's hard not to just sit down and enjoy a game, especially if you know that Joe and LSU is got a big game against those guys. So, but it's fun to be able to do that too.
When you watch Florida, what do you see
Well, great
defensively?
defense.
Yeah.
They don't seem to have any weaknesses. I think they have 26 sacks so far this year. I'm sure that's got to be number one in the nation. They have a first round pick at one of the corners and draftable guys at the other defensive back position. So well coached. The reputation of Mullen and his staff is outstanding across the country. And then offensively, I mean they do what they have to do to protect leads and get the lead and move the ball when needed. But they play to their strengths too, which a lot of good coaches certainly do. But they're capable of scoring points too on offense, and I don't think you can underestimate their offense at this point.
And so do you see anything specifically when you view this through your defensive coach's mind? Because to me, just surface level, it looks like Dan Mullen's doing a really good job of kind of manufacturing, manipulating to kind of put Trask in positions to succeed.
Well, that's the mark of a great coach, which he is. But again, I don't think you can lose sight of the fact that they still have great athletes on both sides of the ball. So yeah, he's smart. He knows the strengths of his team and is able to build on that. But you put up their skill people and their offensive line and defensive line. I mean, they're still going to have some of the best personnel in the country. So that's a good way to start if you're going to manipulate what you're doing one way or the other, for sure.
Talking to Jimmy Burrow, Joe Burrow's father, here on Off the Bench, 104.5, 100.3, 94.7. Okay, so that was kind of, we actually put the coach's hat on and asked what it was like watching the game last week. What about throw the father hat on now? What is it like watching that Florida pass rush and knowing a week later they're going to be coming after your son?
Well, it's scary at times, but I know Joe and the coaches have a lot of faith in our offensive line. They've done a great job so far. So confident that the protection will be there, and the whole offense is designed now to get the ball out quicker. We have more weapons, I think, to spread around, and I think anything they show our offense, we have ways to battle that and to work against it, and that's again credit to our coaches, Coach O, Coach Ensminger, Coach Brady. I mean, all those guys, offensive line. I mean, you can't. I mean, those guys are playing so well right now that hats off. Certainly, always need to go to those guys, and Joe'd be the first one to tell you guys that.
Coach, the offensive numbers speak for itself. I mean, you go down some of these numbers, and it's just incredible that, LSU is first in the SEC and number 2 in the nation in total offense in 571. Joe leads the conference in passing yards per game, passing yards. He's thrown for over 1,800 yards with 22 touchdowns, only 3 picks. Jim Nagy, who was the executive director of the Senior Bowl, came on with us the week of the Texas game, and we've kept up a relationship with him since SEC Media Days, and he said that Joe has been one of the fastest and highest risers as a senior as far as his stock goes for the next level. Throughout your years in coaching, I imagine that you developed a lot of scouting friends and relationships within the league. Are you getting feedback of how much that level is falling in love with him?
No, I don't really reach out to him. I stopped by Ohio University last week to say hello to a friend of mine that was a scout, saw other ones, and they just congratulate me on how well Joe's playing and how well LSU's doing. But I don't get into that. We try not to get too far ahead of ourselves, and I know you've heard Joe say that. But it's always nice. It just means not only is Joe playing well, but the team's playing really well too. And the more our guys play well and play together and get these big wins, then there's a lot of guys on both sides of the ball that their draft stock's going to be rising. So I think a lot of people talking about Joe, but all those other guys that are doing a great job are rising fast in the draft too. The guys that are eligible.
Yeah, in a game like this, because there's going to be so much talent on both sides of the ball. Like if you want to make a statement for NFL scouts, this is an excellent opportunity to do so. One of the kind of cliche breakdowns of this game, Jimmy, that I think is very true is Florida has not faced an offense like LSU, and LSU has not faced a defense like Florida's. How do you feel that Joe and this offense as a whole is approaching that challenge?
Well, I think he's not only Joe, but the whole team. I'm sure has some bad memories of last year, so they understand the challenge that they have ahead of them. Is there revenge? There's always that if someone beat you the year before, and but they're playing confident. I'm just watching the game from last week, and even I said it was maybe sloppy at times, but I'm still looking at these guys stuff a number 1 draft choice at quarterback and move the ball against a pretty good defense. And so I'm saying, well, again, they're doing a great job. After a bye, sometimes you get a little stale, but all in all, everybody's excited. I'm sure, and you spend a lot of time probably watching last year's film. I would be as a coach. I would have my players watch last year's film, but then you gotta check out this year too and see what they're doing different. I'm sure they've had a breakdown of Florida for several weeks now.
Yeah, Coach, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's a sign of the times and how good things are that we are talking about this offensive performance against Utah State like it was sloppy, and you went for 600 yards, 40 minutes of possession, and 5 touchdowns. Like, that's the nitpicking bar that this team, that's the championship bar, I should say, this team's being judged by.
And the expectations are high individually on our team and Joe, and I know he was upset that he missed a few throws that he feels that normally he would make. I know there was a few guys that dropped some passes that we normally don't. So you're looking at it going, they 600 yards, 42 points, and there's still room to improve. And still, you're always looking for the perfect game. You might not ever be able to accomplish that, but again, these guys expect a lot of themselves, expect a lot of both sides of the ball, and as a team, they're very confident right now, and they're disappointed when just one play breaks down or one guy individually doesn't do what he's supposed to, or Joe throws a bad pass or makes a bad read. Again, there's a lot of expectations to be perfect out there right now.
Was it hot enough for you on Saturday in October?
It was crazy hot, uncomfortable in the stands. We had some relatives from Minneapolis.
Oh God!
Oh gosh!
that did not handle it very well. So they couldn't sit there. They had to keep moving to keep a little air circulating. But Joe said it didn't bother those guys. I'm sure they're in really great shape. They practiced in it, but I don't practice in it, so I didn't handle it probably very well.
That's what I said. Does Joe kind of mess with you all now that he has come to South Louisiana and he's like built up this heat immunity?
Toughen up.
Yeah, when I tell him that, hey, it was really hot in the stands, he kind of gives me that look that he has that you're kidding, right? And, but he knows where I'm coming from. It's probably 60 degrees here today, and
wow,
it's not going to get a whole lot higher. The leaves are starting to turn, and
nice.
it's just different weather and different part of the country.
For as hot as it was on Saturday, Coach, this Saturday coming up could be football Camelot with 2 undefeateds, Tiger Stadium, over 100,000, and kickoff right now. Temperature is set. It says for 76 degrees.
Fingers crossed. Let's go.
So
Let's go.
It could be a beautiful night in Tiger Stadium. We can't wait for you to witness it. We always love our chats on Tuesday morning. Looking forward to next week.